saved me. I had several car accidents. I've been in Boulder 32 years, and I've had some significant injuries, and I broke my shoulder in one accident, and I was scheduled for surgery. And I had already done every available therapy out there. Pilates and physical therapists and yoga and every sort of movement, body work you can imagine, because I had really good car insurance and they paid for it. And finally, my orthopedist sent me to Sam, and I actually already knew Sam briefly. And I went to him and I said, well, you know, I'm going to have shoulder surgery. And he said, well, why don't we give it for 4 weeks and just, you know, do some workout and training and see what happens. Well, I never had shoulder surgery, and I'm really glad I didn't. And his training program and what his trainers do and what functional fitness does helped me so much more than any other therapeutic modality I did. And so I just have the highest praise for who they are and what they do and how much they help people. So if you have any structural movement problems, conditions, these people are fabulous, and you know, I just love them all. So that's how I'd like to introduce Sam.
That was nice. You know, I guess most of my people don't get to say anything to anybody, but it's always nice when you hear stuff. It always gets me kind of emotional. I look at it like I just try to get people to move, breathe, and feel better. So last night, 2 in the morning, I woke up. You know, had to go to the bathroom, but I always get these ideas 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know whether I read too much about Ben Franklin. He used to do that. I don't know. But last night I woke up 2 in the morning. I'm like, okay, what's my goal? I got 15 minutes basically. Charles, like, you got 15 minutes. Well, maybe 20 we could stretch it to. So I'm like, all right, what's my goal? I always say, okay, here's a goal. You know, the standard athletic thing, here's a goal. So my goal in the next 15 minutes is to change your perspective on what fit is. Okay? Just a simple goal I came up with, just 2 o'clock in the morning. So then I went back to sleep, if you can believe it or not. Then, so anyway, when we say fit, like, just show of hands if you feel that this person would be fit. Like, I'm going to use me as the example. If I told you I ran a marathon yesterday, would you think I was fit?
Yeah.
Okay, feel free to talk out too. If I, let's see, played pro football, when I was in the middle of playing pro football in my career, would you think I was fit? If I was an Olympic gymnast and I could do all those different tricks and stuff like that. So a lot of agreement here, like these elite level athletes. Ironman, how about an Ironman?
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's a Olympic this versus a 2-mile swim and all the different things you got to do for that. But those are all sports. And there's an interesting thing. It's actually, I'm writing a book about it. But we were brought up and we were trained what fitness is from a sport paradigm. And the sport paradigm is an interesting one because what it says is, I am willing to sacrifice my body to get the ball in the net, to do the tumble roll, to launch sideways off a thing. Whatever the goal is, 2 miles of this, and 3 miles of swimming, and 26 miles on the street. But I see these guys, and I see them after 5, 6, 7 years. And gals, like right now I have a 13-year-old I'm dealing with ankles that are so hypermobile they barely function. But if you see this girl on the rings, you see this girl on the horse, you see this girl during her gymnastics routine, you'd be like, man, I'd be amazed if I could do one of those things. Right? So our concepts of fit come back to even when we went to PE class. Who went to PE class? I mean, you say, yeah. That's right, you had PE. How many of you ditched PE? Right? A lot of gals. I remember a lot of girls having notes written. I'm like, why would you write a note for this? I'd write a note for chemistry. Not for this. Right? So, but in that PE class, even younger than that, like if you went to preschool, now preschool is really big, but when I was a kid, I didn't go to preschool, right to kindergarten. But even in preschool, what games did you play? Duck, duck, goose. Right? Run around, dive in the hole before the person touches you. Sacrifice your knees to not get tagged. So if I jumped up right now and slammed my knees into the ground, would you think I was a smart guy? Or right? Now here's what I'm talking about, because my paradigm, the sport paradigm to me, is specific performance of repetitive trauma. Okay, and any of the athletes, you can tell who the athletes are because they're going, yep, that's me. Right? They go and they do these things. Now, a lot of us are not athletes. Like, most of us are not going to be pros. You know, they say less than 1% of 1% are going to be a pro, football player, basketball player, whatever the sport is, you can pick it. Right? But what you say when you go into the sport paradigm, what you're saying, you have to say in your head, is I got to put out 110%. Who's heard that before? Oh, yeah. Right? 110%. Put it out there. Go everything you've got on the line. Well, everything you've got lasts somewhere between 70 and 100 years if you live in the United States. Most of the things we call fit are moment in time. I won the gold. Woo! You know, if I said to you I did these things, you're like, man, that's impressive. You know, if I told you, you're looking at me, I'm not that big a guy, nothing special. Like, there's actually a video called "Nothing Special About Me." It's really funny. But I'm an American record-holding powerlifter. And here's my wrists, and here are my fingers, here's my hands. Look just like the rest of you guys. I don't see anything different about me. Technique got me there. Not willing to sacrifice my body to win. I would go, everyone else would be listening to heavy metal in their headphones, sniffing, smelling salts, and blah, God help me. I'm in a church, be careful. But it's like they go in like this, and I wear a Mr. Bubble t-shirt. Not even the official one. I wore one with a fake one with a little hand. It's like, hi, I'm Mr. Bubble. Right? People would look at me like, who the hell's Mr. Bubble? And then when I did my lifts, they were like, who the hell's Mr. Bubble? And I say nobody. Just a guy who trains functionally and happened to get really strong. I've always felt like when I was a kid, say 10 years old through 15, it was all about what I called my indestructibility complex. I wanted to be indestructible. Me and Charlie talked about this before. He's smiling back there. I wanted to be indestructible. I was like, all right, if I get hit by a car, I want to bounce off. I want to flip to the ground, land on my feet, walk away. Well, I did. I got hit by a car at 60 miles an hour. Okay, got up and walked away. Okay, just recently I had some treatment for my back because of it. So 30 years later, it plagued me. Yep. But for 30 years, I kept it in check with functional exercise. I realized that the sport paradigm is where most of us were trained, where most of us live. I see people I know, I'm like, hey. And what I'm introducing in a very short, probably within a couple of months, I hope, is a book that's called The Fitness Longevity Paradigm. How long are we going to stay in one piece? How long are my elbows going to feel good? In somebody's case, my shoulder going to feel good? My back going to feel good? How long am I going to be able to get out of a chair without holding on my knees to get up? That's what it's about. And most of you in here, I don't see any teen athletes in here. Most of you guys in here are in that place where you're like, things are starting to ache. And I really pushed it in my sports, and things hurt. Because the sport, just to play a sport, you have to be willing to sacrifice your body. I played football, I wrestled, I studied martial arts for 8 to 10 years with really hardcore martial arts instructors. And I can tell you firsthand, you get beat up. And I would go to sleep and my hands would be throbbing in the martial arts. And my back would be killing me. And I'd wake up the next day hoping I'll heal. And then I started creating exercise routines to help this. Would it surprise you to know that when I was 14 years old, I was fixing police officers' backs, hips, necks? I worked out at a police athletic league. My brother was about to go to medical school. He had the texts. So I started looking up stuff. How does the wrist work? What's it supposed to do? So, am I starting to change your paradigm yet? Am I getting to my goal? Like, we all think of it like, hey, I want to be able to run a marathon. I had somebody tell me recently, I'm 50, when am I going to do it? How about never? And all I said was, how about never? 99.9% of the people on the planet will never run a marathon. Big deal. You're not solving world peace. You're not feeding the hungry. Like, I don't get it. And I saw a bumper sticker on the way here that said, life is not a race. It's such a kicker. Because we go and we do these things. We say, okay, I just want to run a 10K. I want to do this. I want to do that. And we set these kind of ridiculous goals for ourselves. It's like a goal. You want to do it? Do it. But like I've done a lot of things. Here's something interesting. I've never had a family member at one of my powerlifting meets. Well, parent-wise, family-wise. My wife's been there, because she had to go for something. And she sat there going, how much longer is this going to go on? And actually, when I broke an American record, I didn't know I did. I was just there to do what I could do and go home. You know, and it was kind of a fun thing.
In the zone.
Right. Yeah, just go and do it, and that's it. You know, next day I didn't get fanfare. There was no parade. You know, but it's funny that like certain sport events right now are getting all this press. Running is the big one in Boulder. Like if somebody wins a running event, woohoo! Want a running event? It's like you get this thing that goes on a shelf and somebody sees it like 5 years later. And if you tell somebody more than once you broke a record, they go, "Shut up, man." My friends back east will go, "Hey, you need some help with it?" "Oh no, you don't need help. You broke American record." Carry it yourself. "Oh no, he could cook it. He's and they just rip on me, right? That's the Jersey way to do things, right? But what we do at Functional Fitness, and what I think G and Charlie get to see a piece of, and Sylvia got to see a piece of, and Ron up here is a client. Everybody got to see and feel a little different when they come in, and feel better when they leave, right? So here are some examples. If I told you I ran a 10K yesterday, but I ran the 10K, and I looked like this, at the very end, it would be like me diving to my knees on the ground, right? It would be like, okay, that guy, whew, he could use a coach. And he could use somebody to help us form